Chof Daled Amar Beis. Amar Rav Bao, Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Kol lo Yisrael shebetoira ein loiken aleihin eila derech achilasam. So any Isra in the Torah, you're going to get makos. The Davka says ein loiken, so the Davka get makos eila derech achilasam. So the way that you eat them. So a simple way how what's lo derech achila. So people say that like for medicines and stuff that you wrap it up in a piece of paper and then eat it. So that's not how you eat it. So, lemute mai, what's this coming to exclude? Amar Rav Shimi barashi lemute she'imachol chelev chai. So the chelev it says that you're potter. So chelev seems to be eaten, either cooked or rendered. I like the idea of rendered. So rendered fat is how people eat it. You don't eat bits of fat; you eat rendered fat. So you. It talks also in other places where you heat up the fat and you swallow it. It seems like a gulp. So you have rendered fat is how you eat the fat. So you're just eating a piece of fat. So it's not how you eat it. You eat it rendered. Rendered is where you basically turn it into a liquid and then it seeps through all the meat and makes everything yummy. So why is lo kdereck achila? So again, the way of eating is this way. You eat it the way that people don't eat it. So again, you can also have the idea by drinks. If people eat, let's say strawberries, people eat strawberries. They don't drink strawberries, so it's lo derech achila to drink it. So, why is it potter? So one reason is that the pasuk says, "Ochel lo tachal," that you have to eat it. Don't eat it. And since the Torah says don't eat it, therefore something that's not called eating is not. There's like a definition of eating. For example, eat matzah on Pesach. This is a definition of that. You have to have a kazayas, kdereck pras. And if you don't do that, so it's not called eating. Not yield to the mitzvah. So here, since there's achila, has to be a certain thing called achila. And therefore achila, if you eat it the wrong way, then it's not called achila. Lo b'derech is not called achila. We have a specific din by the pasuk. Or another way to learn it is any shinoi in the Torah is potter. So if you do a shinoi, any shinoi in the Torah is potter. So here, we'll see. We'll get into that a bit more what that means. But the shinoi, any shinoi is like you didn't do it. Torah says do it. You have to do it that way, the way that people do it. Ikata amri. Now we have a second lashon. According to the first lashon, lo derech hana will be aser, because especially according to the first language, the first way I've explained it is that since it says don't eat it, so it doesn't say don't hana it, and therefore the achila is lacking, but the hana is there. Therefore, any hana in the first language, shlo kdereck, would be chayiv. Now, the ikata amri, amar Rabbi Yahu, amar Rabbi Yochanan, again the same people, called the certain shabbatayra ein loiken aleihin, ela derech hanasan, has to be derech hana. So again, the second language, which is how we posken, that the kol shabbatayra has to be derech hana, and anything that's not derech hana would be potter. So again, the first lashon would be chayev if it shlo derech hana, and the second lashon would be potter. Limute mai amar Rav Shimi barashi limute sheim haniach chelev al shor shel shor hanishkal al gabi makato shehu potter. So this seems to be some type of refuah, so that most people don't use this fat for refuah. This guy is getting hana from the fat of refuah by putting it on his makkah. Since most people don't do it, he's getting a unusual hana. So you have an item, whatever the way to get hana from the item is, and you're doing it in a different way. So that's called your potter. And then it says v'kol shekain oichel chelev hai shehu potter. So in the second lashon of the ikad amri, we have a kol shekain of the echila. So for sure the hana is potter and kol shekain the chelev. Now, why is it a kol shekain? So the simplest way to understand the kol shekain is, again, kol shekain is strong lashon here. I don't know if I would say kol shekain just thinking about hana, echila, what's the connection? But when you eat something, you also get hana. So when you have the echila has both parts of it. If echila has hana in it and you do it lo kdereck hana, your potter. So therefore kol shekain the echila which has hana in it. If you put fat on your for refuah, your potter, so if you have a chila that includes hana, that you do it shelo kdereck, then for sure that it's potter. That's the easiest way to understand the kol shekain. So again, a few reasons why lo kdereck hana would be potter. So the first one is that it says achila by achila, and there's a hekesh to hana. Again, we learnt out hana from achila. Again, the second reason that all shinoi b'kol Torah kula, there's a heter on, there's a potter on. The Chedush Iran says that it is not called hana. That since it's lo kderech hana, it's not called hana. You only get hana there kderech hana. It's a bit of a chiddush there. Now here the chalkach we're going to have a look at the idea that what does it mean that kol Torah kula, when you make a shinoi, that you are it's called you didn't do it. So there's a din of what happens if you write a get with your left hand. If you're right-handed and you write a get with your left hand, mashma b'diavad. So you say that if you write with your left, you have to write lechetchila. You have to write the get with your right hand. That's the Shulchan Aruch. And the Chalkas Mechokek says mashma b'diavad kosher a get in Kotov b'small. So b'diavad, if you write the get with your left hand, it is kosher. Now, seemingly, if anything you do with a shinoi is potter, so then here it should not be a good get. So if you're right-handed and you write on Shabbos with your left hand, so therefore you potter. So here, the fact that you see by get, it's your chayiv. So therefore, or the get's a good get. He says, so you see it doesn't work. It's not a din called Torah kula. She'ena shoylet b'shtei yado. So somebody who's right-handed. Afal gav de le'inin Shabbos ketiv b'smolo lav kasef. So even though by Shabbos, if you were to write with your left hand, that's called right. Gemara medama get l'Shabbos. Le'inin kasav, and we even have a dimyun on Shabbos and get. Okay, kasav efshor loymor de lav l'chol midi medam l'Shabbos. So you're saying if it's not everything, we have a thing called by Shabbos being Mlechad Masheves. We have a thing called Mlechad Masheves. Do me the Mishkan, but call a Torah kula for everything. You don't say that a shinoi is going to take you out. Akal kol shekatav glachayad or b'small lav Mlechad Masheves he but makol katav mikri le'inin get. So he's saying that's why it's kosher for the. That's why it's kosher for the get. Now here's the kobץ שעורים. So he brings a Rashi to the top of Chav Gimel, where it talks about an etil rabim. So he says the ein derech rabim l'torni zeh klal godol ki kol dinei haTorah lo nemer rak b'kedarkan v'shelo kedarkan. Right. So this is the klal godol in the kobץ שעורים. Every din in the Torah, it only says it kedarkan. Therefore, if you eat shelo kederek achila, it's not your potter. If you have hana shelo kederek hana, your potter. V'shelo kedarkan v'lo shelo kedarkan. But if you do shelo kedarkan, it's not. Mishum hachi oichel shelo kederek achila potter. V'chein be'achila shel mitzvah. Imachul shelo kederek achila lo kaima mitzvah. This is a maklokas rishonim, but he says here if you do achila shelo kederek, then that's called you're not kaim the mitzvah. If you do shlo kdereck potter, levab ababir shlo kedarka, because that's a special limud. Now there is you have this the achila. If you eat ever min achai, then that's lo kderech. If you eat a bird that's alive, it says that you're chayiv. That's lo kderech. So they say that the ever min achai has its own posuk. It's a gzeres kosov that makes it chayiv. So is the Agley tal in a fia ois mem dalid bes here. Achish la'ayim b'mash kosov ha'archonim. This is in the Shulchan Aruch. But katav get b'small to kosher. Even though b'Shabbos ki hadav akamis, because it's there he quotes this at the Mechokek. He's quoting here. Shabbos the Mlechad Masheves Asher Torah. L'chora Mitzinu af b'shar devarim that you don't need machshava. So you have achila, you don't need machshava. Hana, which we saw. Hanichnas lebeis hamagunas. If you have a tsar's house, if you enter into the tsar's house, then you become tamei. But if you go backwards, then you're tahor because you didn't do it kdereck. Go into a base derech bia davka. So therefore, he's basically the Agley is holding that kol Torah kula. Then any shlok kdereck. So why you potter if you walk backwards into a house? Because why you tahor because you didn't walk in. It says walk in, you did a shinoi, and therefore you're potter. So he has to explain this whole din with the get. Birur and shel devarim. Yesh chiluk bein im yeshinoi b'hanasa or hashinu rak b'ha'oisa. So is the maisa that was done, does that have the shinoi, or just the person that's doing the maisa, he makes a shinoi? The achila shlok kderech kagon she'achal chelev chai or she'yir of davar mar. So you put something bitter into your food, so that's lo kdereck. You don't eat that type of food. This is a maklokas as to why nevela a nisrach. If you have a davar pogum, why is a davar pogum mutter? So one is, as we saw before, that it's you give it to the ger. The ger, whatever the ger doesn't eat. So therefore, that's not called nevela. Therefore, it's mutter. But the crazier placey, which is Rabbi Yosef Eichevs, he holds, it's in the Rambam that it's lo kdereck. That it's not the way of eating nevela when it's nisrach. For anything that's pogum, it's not the derech to eat something in there if you're potter, only from the din of shelo kderech. So davar mar harei yeshinoi b'hama'achil. So the food itself has something that has a difference to it. So when you eat something that there's a shinoi in the guf of what you're eating. You're eating, but your maisa is the eating, is the achila, but the thing that you're eating has changed, and therefore that's always a shinoi. When you go backwards, there's a shinoi in the bia, because that's the maisa hanase. So the maisa has a change in it. Aval hakaisev, but when you write with your left hand, the esem ha'pa'ula hu ois hanase, you wrote a letter. Ubezeh ein shum shinoi, but there's no shinoi in the letter you wrote. You wrote a letter, therefore it's a kosher get b'di'evid. But ish ha'isa, the ish that's doing the maisa, he makes it change because he, instead of doing with his right hand, he uses his left hand. He should have done the left. So there is a shinoi. It's a shinoi in the man who's writing, not in the shinoi in the nechtav, the thing that was written. And when you bring something out on your elbow, the etzem pa'ula is in the chayfetz, a yoytze. Where is the pa'ula? The pa'ula is in the chayfetz. Now, how did that chayfetz? Chayfetz ain't shom shinoi. It's shehu oitzei shelo kderech ha moitzin. So the moitzi, the mitzian takes it out, and therefore, so he's always asked it down on each one. I don't know how clear the din, his chiluk is here. He's down on each case and saying, "No, you see the shinoi is here, therefore it's chayav, or your shinoi is here, therefore it's potter." The kain etzino she'alav kashar. Kashkashem shemachu kliyacher yad, ain't shuni bahad zinor. I'm talking rak ba'oiser shemachu kliyacher yad. So he's making a chiluk there, this idea of in kol Torah kula. So there's a maklokas here in whether this is true when you have a shinoi in a maisa. Does that work for kol haTorah kula or not? So again, shelo kderech achila and shelo kderech hano is the way that people eat things, or the way that people have hano from things. And when you change from that, look at a simple thing we have, like having juice out of something that's normally eaten. So therefore, the hano of a apple, let's say, is to eat, and I could took hano from it from having juice. So it's lo kderech hano. So you have, even though a lot of people will do it. Once you have, it's a mius of people have hana in this way. Therefore, that's not called the normal way to have hana, and therefore, if you have hana from the item in that way, so therefore you'd be potter if you have hana from the dover ha'isr. And the achila again, if it's shelo kderech achila, so you're eating something not in the way that's eaten. Again, the example they have was the Rambam gives an example of food that's so hot you're burning your throat. Just interesting, therefore, there you can eat. So he's saying deraisa. So Yod Gimel in the Shach here, Shelo kdereck hana, L'tzorech refuah. So you can't have it L'tzorech refuah, but Shelo L'tzorech refuah, afilu Shelo kdereck hana aser. So if it's for refuah, so therefore there's like some type of need, and therefore basically saying that it's a even though that it's mutter Shelo kdereck deraisa, therefore it's aser to have hana Shelo kdereck hana is also the rabbanon. So therefore, when it's Shelo L'tzorech refuah, if it's L'tzorech refuah, so therefore you don't care about the rabbanon, and therefore it's mutter, because it's deraisa, it's also Shelo kdereck bein achila bein hana. But when it's Shelo L'tzorech refuah, therefore it's still also the rabbanon. Harosh kol baruch shema upashad hu vayinu be'isuri hana. That's what by isuri hana it's also the rabbanon. Aval be'isuri achila shari. So asiri achila, the shach is holding that there's no Isur Rabbanan on Isuri Achila Shelo kdereck Achila. So this is a machlok. This is how the shach is poskening. Again, it could be because they have the word Achila, and therefore it's not even there. It's not. It's like it's 2 levels removed, whatever. But so the shach is holding that the Rabbanan. There's no for Shelo kdereck Achila. There's not even an Isur Hana. So again, in the Rambam it says that if you eat food that's so hot, so then you're going to burn yourself. Then that's called Shelo kdereck. So if according to the shach, you could take Isur Achila like pig, make it really really hot where you're going to burn your throat if you eat it, and then just eat it. No Isur deraisa. No Isur the rabbanon. Pashas according to if you add the shach and the Rambam together. So it's more nami. Amar Rav Acha bar Avia. Amar Rav Asi. Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Hania chelev shel shor. Haniskal agabe makato potter. Lefi shekol yishurin shebetoira ein loikel alehem ele derech hanasan. Ele derech hanas. Amar Rabbi Zira. So that's just like the Hatani, the same thing. For Amar Rabbi Zira. Afan and nami tanina. So Rabbi Zira is saying we also have a Mishnah saying the same thing. You don't get makos because of orla. So when you drink orla, you don't get makas only on if you drink shemen, olive oil, and grape juice. So when you drink those of orla, obviously orla is orla olives. You make the shemen out of it, and the orla grapes, you make the grape juice out of it, and then you do get makas if you drink them. V'ilu mitutim te'enim uvrimonim lo. Now te'enim will be figs and rimon. Again, I don't know what fig juice is. Is that like a thing? Rimonim. Again, now today, there is rimonim. You can get pomegranate juice. The Chazon Ish asks the question as to whether do you go every generation? Does every generation get to choose what's normal? But what's this mitutim? Now, tutim cannot be strawberries. Why can tutim not be strawberries? Because we're talking about orla. You're drinking orla juice. So, orla is only from a tree. And strawberries don't come from a tree, they come from a bush. So, tutim are like translated as wilberries or something like that. I don't know. What's it called? Blackberries? I don't know. Some type of berry coming from a tree. So that these tutim are they're not strawberries because strawberries are from the. But anyway, if you drink this tutim juice, so it's not. So my time is, so again the pashtus that we're learning here is lav misham delo ka'achol lahu derech hanasan. So you drink the juicing from the figs and the rimonim. That's not how people eat them. So therefore, let's look at derech hana. The normal hana is that you eat the fruit, and now you're taking hana of drinking the fruit. So that's the pashtus what we learned Shabbai is going to reject. So Abaye rejects Amrle Abaye Bishlema Iyavashmin and Pri. If he told us that the Pri itself he was eating, so then Delo Ka'acholei Derech Hanaso Shapir. So therefore I would say that he's not eating the fruits the proper way. So therefore, give us a case of that, where you ate the fruit, and therefore we see he's not eating the fruit properly, and then he's potter. That since he's drinking the fruit, and the fruit juice is only Zeya bealma. Since it's Zeya bealma, therefore that's why you're potter. You're not eating that. The Abayis Teretz here is saying that since the Isser Orla is on the fruit, and this is the juice. There's no Isser Orla on the juice. The Isser Orla is only in the fruit. Why is there no Isser Orla on the fruit, on the juice? Pashas, because this lashon of Zeya bealma. So again, Rashi here pre tiachul shluk darko gun shabishel. You cook a guzim or frozen va'achlin. So again, it's a very strange thing. It's very easy to get to shluk kdereck achila. Just do so. So you cook. I don't know. Do people have boiled pig, boiled rashers? I don't know. Va'achlin. So once you cook them in a strange way, you just do them the way again. Just you only really need a meat of people don't eat it this way. So yeah, that's a shlok kdereck achila. So it's it just seems like all this surim. I mean, I don't know, especially today. Like, is there any what's like the roiv way to do anything? Is roiv cheese eaten on top of tomatoes with a base on it? I mean, what does it mean that you eat it the Tosfos? Eila haka mishum de bealma hu teima lari de boiberoit of anchulin yalef mikro. The government orla pre. So we have. How do we know that the mashke, anything that comes out, you're only chayv an orla only from zaytim and anavim? How do we know? And therefore, there's no orla of the juice coming out of to tim or to enim or rimonim, etc. Because we have a pre v'gzer shavim. Mi bechorim mi truma. So from truma to bechorim to orla, I learn that it's only the zaytim and the anavim. So therefore, we only have truma on juices of zaytim and anavim. We only have bechorim from the juices of zaytim and anavim. And therefore, for example, there's a chumrah of the brisker Rav himself that if you buy, let's say, rimon juice, and you're not sure on the hechsher, you can't take truma from the rimon juice because there is no truma. You should have taken it from the rimonim. Now it's juice already. If he never took truma from the rimonim, therefore it's just there's nothing you can do. There's no way to fix it up. Uba truma kativ tirush v'yitzar. So that's the pasuk, and then we have the gezerah shava pre back to orla. Imken and ma'aserech lemeimor haka zeya bealma. Therefore, what do I need? Zeya bealma. Here we have two limudim for the same thing. We're not coming to exclude things. Because minadin, I wouldn't even think about tirish v'yatzer. I wouldn't think that they're lemashkin pre. So, but pashtus it's zeya bealma. So I'm not coming. We're not leaning to learn pre. It's not to lemute. So everything, this svara of Zeya bealma potters all juices because juices is not the fruit. The hata misrech lemela from this shenishka mashka shel tirish v'yatzer kamor pre. So basically, we're coming to be machmir on coming to include grape juice and olive shemen because all liquids are potter from this svara of Zeya bealma, and therefore the pre pasuk is coming to be mechayev you in orla on those juices, because mistama you're potter from this from the Zeya bealma. Hasha atishapir hada amar b'shmitim de Zeya bealma hu de mihai taima hu de shminim de mashka eno kipri, because that's why we're learning that the mashka is not like the pre. Mihutema amaya mar de Zeya bealma hu v'ha tam ke'eker deraisa. So Tosfos has this answer, this kasha here at the end. Tam ke'eker deraisa. That means when you have the flavor, it's like you had the actual thing itself. So therefore here, since you have, even though it's Zeya bealma, since the flavor of the fruit is in it, the flavor of orange juice is in the orange, and therefore you should be chayiv because eker deraisa. Even though it's not the fruit, Zeya bealma, since it has the flavor of the fruit, so therefore that flavor is the issue, has the flavor of the orla, and since tam eker deraisa, it's like I am eating the orla. Now here, this question is only according to Tosfos himself, because the whole Brisa here is talking about ain't something I said Arba Misham Orla. That you don't get makas because of Orla. So for everybody, it's good. Because Tam Ke'ikr is also derisive. We don't get makas for Tam. You can only get makas for whatever you want to say. It's Kazais Kadechilis Pras, whatever your Gedarma here. But most people hold that you're not chayiv for Tam. You're not chayiv, you don't get makos. It's also, but you don't get makos for Tam Ke'ikr. But Tosis' own shita is that you do get is that Tam Ke'ikr at the Raisa you do get you do get makos, and therefore it's a kasha only according to his own shita. So the Rashash here on this Tosis. So Ayin Brachas Lamentes Tosis Mia Desalka Uberosham. Mashakasa be as some besof beshofor be Yeshev hat Temo. So the Rashash is explaining where we get the answer to Toisis's kasha. So here is Brachas Lamentes Maya Desalka Kasalka. So a silka, let's say, or beets or some type of vegetable. Yerek, the water of the yerek is like the yerek. So that the maya, the water of the yerek, of the vegetable, is brei pri adama. Afal pi she'ein ba ela mayim, even though it's only water and you don't have the vegetable inside. The tama yerak's mevarach alechem ka asher yevarech al hayerakos. So therefore, the flavor of the yerakos you bless on the vegetables the same as the yerakos, and that's the famous halacha of like vegetable soup is adama. Even though we said by perus Zeya ba'almahu yesh lechalek, there is what to make a difference. So here Taisa doesn't make a difference, just saying there is a difference between them. So the Rashash is saying, have a look at this Taisa, and then have a look at the Rosh. So we have that Zeya ba'almahu shakol. So fruit juice is shakol. Vegetable juice is adoma. Tosis says yesh lechalek. Doesn't really give much away there. So the Rosh umaya desalko umaya the lifta umaya deshapta beperchaka brei pri adoma. So you say brei pri adoma on the vegetables. So kaimala maya dechul shalki kashalki. So these things that are cooked are cooked. They're cooked in, and therefore the umavarachin alehu brei pri adoma. Afal pi she'ein bo kema marak, even though it's just the soup. The tam and the flavor of the yerakos, and you bless on them, like you would bless on the yerek itself. V'lo dami lemei peros. It's not like mei peros. Why is it not like mei peros? I'm really la'ayel to Zeya ba'alma, because it's not like Zeya ba'alma. Why? Lefisha makshe ein lo tam hapri. Because the drink, the flavor of the juice doesn't have the flavor of the fruit. But maybe if you cooked the fruit, saying here because you're cooking the vegetable and therefore the flavor of the pears came into the juice, then maybe efshir you will bless berei peri ha'etz. So it seems to be differences. Again, it's a difficult thing to understand here. I don't understand it. You seem to understand this, that the maksha ein lo tama pri. I mean, again, apple juice I think tastes like apples, and orange juice tastes like oranges. So what's exactly the Rosh talking about? So we have the Stipler, Kiras Ya'akov. So he has a whole thing here. Lots of questions you can ask in his shita. He brings up, he answers. V'nira de dina de yotzei mina iser. So now he has a thing called Yotzei Mina Iser Iser. So therefore, why is the orla that comes out of the orla? Why is that not orla? Why is juice that comes out of perus? Why is that not perus? It's only the thing that comes out of it gets its existence and is made from the thing that's osir. Like beitzas treifa. So if an animal is a treif, the animal creates, incubates, and therefore the egg that comes out, that's taka, something that comes out that's created by the treif, by the isser, therefore yotzei mina iser iser. Shebeitz nitav v'niskalo miyofa iser. Aval l'mashal, the seed that's in the fruit, it wasn't grown and it brought into existence by the fruit. How did the seed come into existence. Ela gamma pri, gamma geri, and niskadol v'nisavamina ilan. It's the tree that created both the fruit and both the seed. So there it's easy that the seed isn't a yotzimina pri. The seed is a yotzimina ilan. The tree's making the seed, not the fruit. She'tzamchu bo shekachu tevel shel ilan, because that's the nature of a tree, to give hatzmiach, to grow the fruit and the seed that's in it, but not that the fruit itself will matzmiach is the if you plant something in a fruit, it'll then create a seed. That's not what the fruit does. The tree makes the fruit. The tree makes the seed. The seed is just inside the fruit, but the seed didn't matzmiach. Megadol gerin shabo. Again, bring life to it. The pri isn't the thing that's the incubator for the seed. Hachinami yesh loymar. Again, we get when you have this is again a bechidish. Hachinami yesh loymar. B'mashken shebeperus, that the juice that's in the fruit, shehen chelek min a pri. That's a chelek of the pri, and when it's growing and it gets bigger and it grows. Ve'ein a pri matzmiach hamashke, but the pri itself isn't the incubator for the juice. Shabo ela ha'ilan matzmiach gam et pri gam et mashkin. So the tree here is making three things. It's making the fruit, it's making the seed, and the tree is making the juice. V'lechein ein bahani mashkin din yotzim min iser ela machmas u'mekoyach pri nisavu. It's so therefore we don't have this whole din of iser min iser, because it's not the pri that creates it. So the Sniper has this big chiddush that the fruit, that the juice has nothing to do with the fruit, and that the tree is making the juice, and the tree is making the fruit. The fruit. So therefore, the pri is ha'etz, but the juice has nothing to do with the pri. Since the juice has nothing to do with the pri, so therefore the juice will be a shekel. And again, this answers up. That's why. But vegetables doesn't have this. The juices coming out of the vegetable is the vegetable itself. The vegetable, it was like megadol that juice. Now there's lots of questions on this shita that the Kehillas Ya'akevi answers in the other parts of it. So why, since the tree is orla, therefore the juice should be orla as well? So we have Tosfos already brought the pri that we have that the pri is going against. So pri Tosfos says is machayev, and here we're going to say that it's potter, everything else. So you have because there's a kosef to tell you not. If you eat an orange, you're still chayev because he has a separate din, and when it doesn't come out of its place, it has a din of the place it's in. So that the mashke, while it's still in the fruit, has the din of fruit. And therefore, if you eat an orange, then you'll have the full shear, the kazayas of the orange, even though you're only having the fruit. Even though you're only having so the juice, how did the juice become part of the shear? Because when it's in its place, then it's included in the shear. It only has to come out and become a separate being, and then it has its own shear. And you also have what does the Gemara mean? Zeya bealma. It's that you have like the tam is coming in from since the pri and the mitz, the juice and the fruit are living together. So therefore, you'll have the iser of the orla will be transmuted, and then we say no, that iser that's in the juice, that flavor that's in the juice is just zeya bealma. That's not enough to ulcer the juice. So that's the chiddush of the stipler. Again, it can be used on kol Torah kula, that the juice is nothing to do with the pri, and you have the pri, and then the juice is a new bria that the elan creates alongside the fruit.